Good morning and a happy Friday morning to you guys. All right, this video is long, so it's being split into two, and they are the only two videos you will see today. So, two videos only, you guys, okay? But as usual, there's a lot to cover, which is why it's being split. So let's just jump in and cover what we have, shall we? Let's go. All right, you guys, this came out, and I absolutely 100% believe it. We already heard that Prince Harry would like to return to royal duties. They have this whole bring him in from out of the cold scenario. And what they want you to believe is that's not true. Harry is perfectly happy where he is. He's perfectly happy with his life's choices. Everything in his family is going just perfect. However, if he would like to return to the royal family to help out, because everybody's got cancer and, etc., he'd be willing to bite the bullet and do that to help his family. So did you catch that? Basically, they're not seeking a permanent return. He just wants to bop over and do some royal events. In other words, he's looking for the half-in, half-out life that the Queen already flat out told him he was not going to get. Let's be honest, he thinks that King Charles is the one that's going to let him back in. We all know what's going on behind the scenes. William is the one who's really running things behind the scenes. And William has flat out said that there is zero chance that Harry can come back to the family since he published The Spare. Now, before they left the royal family, remember when Harry and Meghan were in South Africa, one of the poorest countries that had rolled out the red carpet for them, that Harry gave an interview where he was asked about William, and this is what he said. Remember this?
Part of this role and part of this job and this family being under the pressure that it's under, inevitably, stuff happens, but. Look, we're brothers. We'll always be brothers. We're certainly on different paths at the moment, but I will always be there for him, and as I know, he'll always be there for me. We don't see each other as much as we used to because we're so busy. But I love him dearly, and the majority of the stuff is created out of nothing. But it's just, as I said, as brothers, you have good days, you have bad days.
So it was Harry during this 2019 tour who leaked the rift to the public, who confirmed the rift. Good days and bad days, he said. This is a man who told everybody in The Spare that his brother was his arch nemesis. He called Queen Camilla a wicked stepmother and said that Charles was emotionally stunted and an ineffectual old man. He also said some things about Catherine, and I think that's really what put the nail in the coffin for Harry. Let's not forget that this man who's always going on about leaking and planting released private text messages between Catherine and Meghan. We're already aware of that. Maybe it was because he insinuated that she was a plastic princess made for breeding, that there was really no love between William and Catherine. He just married somebody that he thought was suitable while he married for love. Maybe it was when he actually insinuated that Charlotte and Louis weren't being raised correctly and were going to turn out like him. I sincerely doubt that one. And yet with all of this, it is Harry who is demanding an apology from William, even though William has never said anything. Well, GB News was all over this. Let me tell you, this is a little long. It's about a minute long, but you're going to want to hear every second of what these people say. My God, listen to this.
Yes, it's quite extraordinary. I mean, it's utterly bizarre, to be frank. And if it isn't true, if this is just a false report, the Sussexes ought to specifically deny it, because, I mean, it's, as you say, it's absolutely laughable. It takes me back, actually, to January of last year, at the time that Spare was being launched. And Harry gave an interview to the Telegraph, and there he laid out a variety, I thought, of very controversial thoughts. They included the fact that he wanted an apology, and he was calling out, I quote, the royal family, you know what you did, and I now know why you did it, and you've been caught, so just come clean. Precisely what you'd make of that, of course, is to some extent one's own interpretation, but obviously it was the way he felt Meghan was being treated. And then the interview went on almost unbelievably to say that he was doing this for George, Charlotte and Louis, as though William and Catherine were inadequate parents. The whole thing was ridiculous. He was saving the monarchy from itself. The whole thing was just unbelievable then. It's quite extraordinary now, especially with two members of the royal family seriously ill, that this sort of thing will raise its head now.
I expect an apology story, and apparently the Prince Harry would be prepared to work for the royals and join the firm if the King apologised. That's even less likely.
There's no question that at the Oprah interview with the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary with Spare and those disastrous interviews that Harry did to promote it, and he made a fool of himself in part of the book, in my opinion, and put some very ill-advised things in. But at least he hasn't put 400 pages of, what he said he took out. In the same interview with the Telegraph, he boasted that he'd done so. That seemed to me to be a threat.
So does King Charles feel the same? Well, I'm going to say yes, he does. And King Charles is very smart in some of the things that he's doing. They put something through Parliament, and what it basically says is that, you have counselors of state. And for those of you who don't know what that is, a counselor of state is in the event the king cannot undertake his duties as king on a temporary basis due to illness or travel abroad, two or more of the counselors of state, by letters patent, they run things while the king is indisposed. Now, the current councils of state are the Queen, William, Anne, Edward, Harry, Andrew, and Beatrice. But as you can see, it was passed so that only working members of the royal family are called upon. So Andrew and Harry will never be called upon. So, essentially, Harry's been removed as a counselor of state. His position there is done. So Harry is asking for an apology, even though he's not the one who let the Queen and Philip go to their graves with the world thinking that they were racist. He's not the one who bullied Charlotte at the wedding. He's not the one who sold intimate details of the family, to the highest bidder. But he was the one that did a 24-hour round-trip visit to see his father when he found out that his father has been diagnosed with cancer. He was allowed one visit lasting 14 minutes, smiling at the airport as he left. And it was reported that during that visit, he offered to come back and help. And the king's response to him was, no, thank you. But hey, Harry got the points and he got the, attention that he wanted for being in the UK. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, go down into the description box. You'll find the links to video number 2. You don't want to miss it. Let's go.